Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting on May 25, 2021. Last week I did not do it, and I'm going to hopefully remember to do it every week, but I just want to make a quick introduction to who's here in the room. There's myself, Chuck Fuller, Lenny Espy to my right, Tom Hart to my left as a selectman, Audrey Fraser as the town administrator, and Darlene Worthier as the minute taker. We are expecting one guest this morning, John Hatch, who is an executive with Action Ambulance, who wants to come in and meet the new board and update the board on various items. When we get to the public speaking section today, for those that want to do public speaking, comments will be limited to 5 minutes per individual for a statement and or questions to help move the time frame along in the meeting. And as we started last week, today we'd like to continue with the Pledge of Allegiance for the meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We started a new process this last week where we're not going to have you sit there for the next 15 or 20 minutes watching us read through paperwork. We're doing it just before the meeting, so we can dive right into the actual meeting agenda itself. Make a motion to approve the minutes of May 18th, 2021. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Fuller, aye. Make a motion to approve the manifest in the amount of $72,029.54. 54 cents. Do I hear a second? Second. All those in favor? Who seconded that? Thank you. Fuller, aye. Thank you. In the signature folder, we had a veteran tax credit and yield tax assessments. In the mail folder, we had a letter from the New Hampshire Electric Co-op regarding scenic road tree trimming. There's some follow-up on that one to let them know and confirm the scenic roads in town. We received a letter from the Freedom Food Pantry, which is a gratitude letter thanking the town for the positive vote for their $5,000 donation to help with the food pantry expenses. 91A requests, there were two. Mr. Edwards requested a contract with Hanson Bridge for Snow Road Bridge. That is currently a missing contract. We need to basically come up with that document, and Mr. Edwards has been notified. And Mr. Edwards requested the Department of Human and Health Services contact information. We don't regularly provide that, but it's available on the website. And I know Mike Cahalane's appointment letter as the health officer was distributed widely at the voting day by a patron in town. In announcements, Carroll County Commissioners meeting is May 26, 2021. For more information, you can get it from their website. The Effingham Preservation Society plant sale, the Lord's Hill Meeting House bake sale, and the Effingham Library book sale all occur on Saturday, May 29th, 2021. Please come out and support the library and the various nonprofits in their fundraising efforts. The Lakes Region Planning Commission, is that a meeting? I can't remember.
It's a town meet. It's a meeting.
It's a regular meeting. Okay, Lakes Region Commission regular meeting June 2nd, 2021. Again, for more information, you can contact the Lakes Region Planning Commission website. Next up, administrator comments. Audrey.
Okay, to clarify Mr. Edwards' request for the DHHS contact information, it was in regards to a conversation that had taken place, and no one seemed to have recollection of that conversation or mentioning anyone specific. So let's see, what else have I been working on? I want to thank Lenny for going out to the cemetery with me last week. We met with Mr. Strauss and Lenny's reached out to Lords and had that one internment cleaned up because it was really a mess. I met with Health Trust and there's a couple of people that need to finish filling out paperwork. The police sergeant and myself need to do a couple of things. I have forms to upload to DRA, and Deanna's being great, helping me with all the due dates related to after town meeting. Things have to be done by certain dates, so as you see in your manifest, you had checks to the trustees, things like that. That had to be done within 10 days of the town meeting. I need to revisit the COVID language on the website. I believe I distributed that to the three of you. I had a little bit of feedback, but I haven't gone back and addressed it yet. And there was discussion with DRA and New Hampshire Municipal Association on the elderly exemption, which passed at town meeting. That will not be effective until April 1st of next year because of the way the RSAs are written to incorporate new ordinances or new.
And if I remember correctly, with some of the discussion around that, if we had held the town meeting in the regular March timeframe, then that exemption passing could have been effective for April 1st of this year.
Correct.
But because the town meeting was held in May, that exemption will become effective April 1, 2022.
Correct, and if someone had made a motion to change the language, that could have been changed, but since there was none, it's next year. That's it.
Good. Any questions for Audrey?
I'm out the rest of the week.
What? We allowed that?
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Hopefully it's a good week. All right, selectmen's comments and reports. Mr. Hart.
Yeah, trying to get a hold of lock people for the safe out back. I did make some calls to God All Safe Corp and
Excuse me,
yes, ma'am.
can you lower your mask while you're speaking?
Okay, that was another thing I was gonna bring up. Let me bring that up first.
Yeah, let's
On the mask,
get them off.
yeah, we took them off in the budget committee. They all voted to remove them while they're in here sitting. I'd like that to forward to you guys. If you think we need them in here while we're having this meeting.
We're socially distanced. That's the only time you need a mask when you can't social distance.
I'm good. Take them off.
Okay.
If we do leave the room and go out into the other
Right.
office area,
Yeah.
they need to be put back on, but
Okay. Like I said,
I'm good.
I spoke with the safe folks. They informed me that the lock mechanism is actually made from a different company. Got their number. It's pretty simple to get the combination. I just need to talk to our safe lock people first. And then we can get back. I think it's a $25 fee for recapturing the old.
I emailed
combination.
him yesterday, I have not heard back.
Okay. I called Evans and left a message about the cemetery road needs some serious work. You know if that's been, has anybody?
Hadn't been done, but
Hadn't been done yet.
as of when we were there Thursday.
Didn't seem bad in my mini.
There's a big ruckus on there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a big
They got
rock.
carriage.
They, it's kind of washed out in some places and some good rocks.
I'll call again.
I see the grade's been out, but I don't know if they've been up there.
All right, I'll give him a call again. Budget committee meeting last, I got a hand up, Chuck, I think you're going, I gotta make a copy to give you this, Lenny, just an expectations, 2022 budget. A couple things they want me to pass on you folks.
Why don't we just cover the reasoning behind that particular discussion? Because of how it worked last year and the difference from the years before.
Yeah, we'll all get together on this and have joint meetings with the budget committee, is that what you're referring to?
No, where last year was one of the first years where we actually worked as a select board, getting the budget completely ready
Okay.
so that it was presented to the budget committee
Mhm.
before their first meeting. And that worked extremely well throughout the year. And we were thanked by the budget committee quite a bit. So they have requested we follow the same process again this year. It makes sense because it's an efficient way to do things.
All right, there you go. And, also, can we get budget to actuals like every other week? Here, just
Yes,
doable?
yes.
Thanks. I
You're
want
really
that word.
Well, we did discuss doing monthly and having revenues as well as back tax information on there. And I know Darlene's been working on that, to come up with that additional reporting function, so
Do you want to keep it monthly?
we agreed on monthly last meeting, that was in the minutes.
All right,
But if we want to do it more often than that, as soon as that reporting mechanism is set up, we may be able to do that.
all right. Yeah, I'm all right with the month. We'll see how it goes along with the monthly, I guess.
Because that's coming right up shortly.
Yeah. We need to put some street signs up where they're missing. We got street signs in for the missing ones. Now, do we do that or?
We need to have it done, but with the placement of them,
Yeah.
I think we ought to get Evans to do it. That way he'll place them where the plows are not gonna take them out.
And does any of you guys know of any that need to be
Is that street name signs?
stop signs, we got in, and no through trucking signs, speed limit signs. So I don't know if you've seen any place around town that I'm gonna take another drive through, but if you're out driving, if you see a place that should be a stop sign, or should be a street sign, just let me know if you would.
I think before we just say, hey, we'll put signs up, we need to be able to provide a list.
I have a list.
Here's the beginning of the road of where we need it, here's what we're recommending. You know, I was thinking about the signs yesterday,
Mhm.
the no through trucking ones, particularly based on the stuff that happened on Champion Hill.
Right,
And as you come down Townhouse Road and you're right in front of Misty Mountain Farm and John Davis's place, and you're looking to take the right on Champion Hill,
yeah,
you can't see anything except the stop sign because of the angle of the road. You can see the back of the stop sign. So I'm thinking we need to put a no through trucking on that sign also,
all right,
so that people are aware of it. And once we've got the signs posted for those 7 or 8 locations
Mhm.
with the no through trucking, we need to make sure that the chief knows that information,
all right,
because he's basically said they will start doing patrols on those roads,
all right.
and initially handing out warnings after discussion. Habitual offenders will probably end up with a ticket.
The chief and the sergeant might be good people to ask if there's missing signs.
Yeah, I was gonna do that. Add that on again. Thanks. And that's it.
Lights. Have you had any chance to work on the streetlight thing since?
We got a
I
lot
have
of,
not heard back.
yeah.
So what's our next step on that, so we make sure the public's aware of it?
Well, I believe we paid what we owed right on the streetlights.
I don't think we have.
And we haven't got anything back from them either on it.
No.
I know the lights, the ones that work.
I'll try making a phone call.
See if we can get an answer, because those lights we identified,
Mhm.
that list, we need to make sure Lenny's brought up to speed on all of that.
All right.
So he knows, here's what the list is, here's what the recommendation is. So he can actually, if he wants to do a drive around to take a look at it
Mhm.
and see what they are. So it's basically in areas that were identified as not, a lot of them, 153, that we've been paying for years rather than the state. And the price of electricity is going up so bad on those lights
About 10 grand.
that, yeah, basically almost like 30% in 1 year.
Originally, they put them where the school bus stopped, but
Yeah,
now the school bus doesn't stop.
They've changed, yeah.
Yeah.
So
we had 3 of them on a dead end road.
So there are things like that, and one of the things that Tom had found out in the research dealing with Eversource was that depending upon the age of the light, some of those lights may be removed for no cost whatsoever. But in the 15 that was gonna be a cost, it was probably gonna be about a $3,500 one-time fee to get rid of it. And that's essentially what our increase was this year in electric on those same lights. So a one-time investment to eliminate a big future cost, I think, is worth discussion.
Yeah, and you'll see on the list too, like on corners, intersections, those are staying off. Just safety wise.
Yeah. The only one I can think of that should come out probably is the one in front of the fire station. Fire station number 2.
The one that should come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Because I mean, there's one on the building, right? You know, it's on all the time.
Yeah.
And that will come on when the power goes out because the generator's running, but the one on the street.
Right, yeah, that one is on the list that can come off. We can check with Randy on that one too. On that one. Do you have any problem with that one going off? You didn't, so.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And you ran that list by the police department too, just to make sure from a safety
I
standpoint.
even asked them if they had any additions, subtractions.
Okay.
I didn't get back.
Okay,
That'd be it.
good. Lenny,
While we're on the topic of roads, why did they close the bridge if they're not working?
they're working on it. They had to move all that equipment over. They had to move the Jersey barriers over and get stuff set in place, and that is a lead time issue.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it was closed all weekend. You know?
Yeah.
And it was, I don't see really why it needed to be, but, you know, they could have closed it yesterday morning.
I'm not gonna tell them how to run
Yeah.
their business.
Right.
I understand exactly what you're saying,
You know,
and I've
it's
actually, you know,
an inconvenience.
done a reach out,
Really
like-
didn't need to be.
Right.
And they probably said calcium in your road and Culver Hill Road before the detour.
it would have been nice, but it would have been a waste of money because there's no way to put it down with rain or a watering unit on it. And I've reached out to find out, is there a way, if we're not gonna get rain anytime soon, which I think last I looked, we were out several days. Where can we get a watering truck and potentially come in and do that? I know we're gonna have to grade that road a few more times in the next 8 weeks because just in one weekend, the way people drive on that road,
Yeah.
they've got the washboard so bad already.
Yeah.
So I'm figuring by this coming weekend, it'll be a natural. You won't be over 10 or 15 miles an hour going on that road because otherwise your vehicle will be beat to death.
Yeah, I mean, the hill coming up from the transfer station, that hill was washboardy on Sunday.
Yeah, and when I rode over every one of them yesterday, anything where there's a grade, there's a washboard. Because people are just flooring it going up the hill and bouncing their wheels.
I mean, same with Clough Road, I mean, that's all washboard.
Yep.
Granite.
So I reached out on that just to find out, because we were supposed to have access to the calcium as of last Friday. And I want to find out how to get it, at least on that road and maybe a couple of the other roads in town.
Yeah.
With a watering truck. So we're gonna have to rent a watering truck because we don't have one and Evans doesn't have one, so. But I'm hoping I'll have information.
Maybe some thunder showers or something tomorrow, they were saying.
Say that again?
Maybe some thunder showers tomorrow that they were saying this morning. Well,
Okay.
that'll help, but, in the piles, have they been getting cleaned up?
I have them out.
Yes.
Yes.
I had that on mine. I actually
Yeah.
was driving around the other day and saw them on two different roads and they were picking up sand piles.
Yeah. And the stone walls, do you get pictures of them?
No, I looked at them, never thought about it until last night, going like, gee, probably ought to take some pictures of the areas. The only area that hasn't been covered for years is the one that's up further beyond my driveway, going up toward Culver Hill Road. There's like 3 patches in there where it looks like the grader hit them this last grade. The stuff that's in front of my neighbor's house is in a berm scenario right now because of a stump they took out. My neighbor has every intention of basically berming that whole section along that field and putting in some new trees. And he's getting rid of his stone wall in the field, so he's got no issue with removing that. Going over the top of the grade beyond Tony's house, headed on the flat, headed down toward the transfer station, where it's been put over to the right. Stone walls weren't plowed away, they were just covered up. So the walls still exist, but the road is wider there because of the steep banking, and they put in additional dirt. So I'm not, from a standpoint of the wall being
Yeah, I
taken
saw
down.
where they rolled a lot of the rocks get rolled off.
Well, that's why,
Yeah.
I'll take some pictures and bring them in next week, and if that doesn't do it, then we'll just schedule a selectmen's meeting to go out and walk that road and
Yeah.
take what we need to and
I saw a few of them too on Sunday, that, concerned me, because this got brought up a few years ago too. And it would make it correct anyway, where they went through a stone wall, I believe, is that plenty?
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
So,
but I'll tell you, since I lived there in 16, many of those walls have been covered. They've been covered over.
right,
It's not moved, they're just covered over. So it's not something that's new, it's something that's been there for years. So, but I think we need to take some pictures.
One of them places where they push the dirt off is, in case they get it out there 30 feet.
And I'm gonna talk to my neighbor on that to make sure he's comfortable with that, and if he's not, we'll take it out.
You got in trouble with that before,
I understand, totally.
so.
And I'm thinking if there's any of those areas that are identified like that, Lenny, I'll just start making a list and we'll go around and we'll talk to any property owner
Yeah.
and see if there's an issue. We did have one on Culver Hill last year. They went, took care of it, cleaned it up. So if it's a case where it's an issue, we'll take a look at it.
I know you talked about the hours and keeping this place closed to the end of July. Do you think that's too long a time frame? I do. Everything around us is kind of opening up, and pretty much, they opened the county administration building, and they get a lot more people in there than we get here. And then last night, the governor on the news, on his press conference there, somebody asked about church. He says, no, church, wide open, sing along, whatever, no mask required. So, I mean, you can ask for a mask to be put on. If people don't, you can't make them wear them, but if the staff in here don't feel comfortable, they can wear a mask. I just think if we don't start to open up, we'll never open up. That's the way I feel. And wait until the end of July, I think is a little too long.
Based on what I've read, I expect the governor's gonna come out with a new executive order sometime in the first part of June, which will really start opening stuff up. I'm not in favor of doing it till at least the end of June, because I'm aware that there's at least one person in this building that has volunteered to me that they have not had their second shot yet. Once we've had the second shot and we're comfortable with it, I don't see any reason. I'm thinking more toward the first part of July rather than the first part of
Yeah, I mean,
August.
the end of July, that's a long ways
It
away.
is. I'm thinking more the first part of July, not the end of July.
I'm good with that. So
But I wanna wait till-
June, right?
Yeah, and
Well, we could revisit it every week, because I mean, the guidelines are changing.
there, Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
And one of the things
I
that-
just think it's been closed long enough. I think I think the townspeople would like it open, and, I just don't really see the reason not to open it.
it's health related.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know, but.
I would have opened it up a while ago, but I'm not looking for a small group of people to say basically open it up. I took the oath that said, I'm here for the entire town,
Right,
and I'm gonna look out for the entire town. And if a small group wants it open, great, I'll listen to them all day long. But I'm still gonna make the decision based on what I feel the health scenario is. And, we've gotta.
well, I'm not saying open it up today, but I think, wait until the end of July is a little.
No, end of June, I'm willing to be, within a couple weeks, as you just said,
Yeah.
address it weekly, see what comes out of the governor's office. And then go from there.
I think most of the staff would be good with the end of June also, and as we see things opening up, we do need time to clear out the office. There's chairs that are out there, we don't want people lingering, so like taking the chairs out of the hallway. And we had taken out all the brochures so people came in, they wouldn't be touching everything when they first came in. So we just need at least to plan door closed hours where we can put stuff back together and clean it up, and because you know what happens when you have an empty room, everything gets thrown in there. So everything's in the hallway.
So based on that, can we shoot for like the 29th and basically say, starting, or the 28th, Monday, the 28th?
I will talk to the rest of the staff, I think so, yeah.
Okay. 28th.
Or,
We're gonna look at it every week.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah, see what the-
until the person I talked to has had the second shot, which is at least mid,
Oh, I did it.
I'm not willing to do it, so. And for those that by then, if you've had one to get vaccinated, you should have had a chance, plenty of chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And was there any discussion and talk of going back to 5 o'clock meeting or no?
We made a decision to continue it the way it was. I'm willing to take a look at what some other towns are doing. Personally, I'm not interested in going back to a 5 o'clock meeting because I sat here for a year before I was elected and watched how the evening meetings wasted a lot of time. And I'm not interested in doing meetings and then work sessions after that and get down here at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. My mind will be fried by then. I would rather, if we need to do it, consider it another time of the day. And then basically put our work sessions on the front end of it or behind it. So we basically still can do some in maybe potentially later part of the day, so people have a chance. But there are as many people that can't get here in the evening because they basically work a second shift. And there are people that basically have an opportunity to get here during the morning, even though we haven't been able to get many people in here because of COVID. Because of their work schedule. So there's as many people on both sides of that discussion around morning versus afternoon, evening meetings. But I'm willing, we need to address it, I agree.
No, I was, I always was at 5.
Yep.
When COVID, it came during the day, so.
Yep.
But there are a lot of people that do work, can't watch it, and.
Well, they got the replay.
Yeah,
And I started looking at, again, as I said, I attended every single meeting a year before I was elected. And I will tell you, there was probably less than a handful of people that weren't already retired that could get in here during the day. So I understand what you're saying, but the argument that, everybody wants to come in, they can do it right now.
The Boston Post game, what is that saying right now?
Which one?
The Boston Post game?
It's in the office right now. Got 2 shadow boxes there for it. I do have a name, next person on the list. I can contact them. I contacted the first one.
Do you know the history behind what we did last year around that whole cane issue?
No.
So you want me to take it real quick?
Yeah.
So Jack Williams built 2 shadow boxes, and we agreed that we would not physically hand the cane out because they, in many towns, have been disappearing because of lack of follow-up and control. We talked about doing a plaque to recognize the person with a letter at the town meeting. Tom did a survey out for about 2.5 months to determine who would be eligible for it. Got the name, followed up several times, never heard anything back from anybody. So that's why we didn't do anything at the town meeting.
I just,
Yeah, I played it, we
Presented it.
already several weeks. It didn't happen.
because I know when father-in-law had it, and,
Right.
then after that, I didn't know where it went.
Yeah, no, I
If
tried.
it's out there presenting somebody,
When Chris was working here, she was on it with me also.
Yeah.
We advertised in the newspaper also, Audrey. And I called the person, the family member, and just very rude and just didn't get back to me. So, yeah, it was, so at that point because right before that, Chuck, I don't remember, just to correct a little bit, I had asked you guys about changing the process about actually giving the replica cane to the person. I think it would mean more than just the plaque.
Yep.
That was something I changed my mind on because just, I saw what happened to the cane. And then that's where I kind of went with the shadow boxes. But
Yeah.
after thinking about it and listening to people on it, different people in town, about their ideas on it, I thought giving a cane, the replica to that person would be better.
You think that? you
So
like
that's
that
why I
idea?
went back to, so that's what we're gonna do next person.
I'm good with that.
So we can have it in here or somewhere, we can hold it outside, get some pictures taken of them and their family if they want. Same as we're gonna do down here, town hall, kind of be on a small scale now. So, but yeah, I wanna get it back out there in circulation, absolutely. I think it's a good thing for the town.
Unfortunately, one of the older citizens died Saturday. She was probably the oldest one. When she was in the nursing home in Austin, but Rita died. She was 5 days shy of 98.
Yeah, well, we sent letters out too, but
Yeah.
there was no, and they were on my list, but they were.
Yeah.
Brought them back.
Oh, a lot of people don't want it.
Yeah, they know.
Oh, it's a death.
I found that out. Well,
So-
that's what that stands.
Are you gonna follow up with that second person on the list?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And if they give the okay, then I'll come in next week, we can make definite arrangements when we wanna present it, and
We can do that in one of these meetings, or,
I can put it in the paper and all too. Notify different people.
That's all I got right now, so.
okay. Let's see, we covered some of the Snow Road Bridge, so the detour signs, I repositioned them on Saturday. I had gone down twice and asked the guys to reposition them, and where they put them didn't really do the job. So it looks like Lawrence Edwards' driveway was gonna be really busy with people driving into it, so it's like, no, we need to change that. As I mentioned before, from a standpoint of watching traffic on that road over the weekend, if people will stay down to a reasonable speed on a gravel road, it will help the condition of the road. Dust isn't a common thing on that road anyway. But the speed actually contributes to the washboard building and makes it rougher for everybody. In addition to that, for people that are not totally familiar with driving on gravel roads, slowing down when you're trying to pass somebody does help. I've had at least two people fly by me and I was almost stopped and they were doing about 25, 30 miles an hour. And they hit the ditch so hard that I'm sure it caused a problem with their front end. Just slow down. Transfer station stickers, as a reminder, are available at the transfer station for New Hampshire vehicle registrations. They are $1, just like they've been in the past. The old stickers basically terminate as of May 31st, so you need a new sticker for June 1. A lot of people have been getting stickers, just as a reminder. The staff at the transfer station will work with you to get that sticker. Anybody that does not have a New Hampshire vehicle registration should contact the selectman's office about how to purchase the sticker. All right, that's what I had there before old business. Anything else?
Nope,
All right, let's dive into the old business. Tom, what do you have? Anything?
nope.
Lenny?
I think we just covered it in.
Okay. All right. I have a small list. The certificates for the sixth graders you asked about last week.
Yeah.
I traded emails last night with Patty Morrissey and I copied you on those.
Yeah, I get it.
Basically, you can just reach out to her and
Yeah.
she'll prepare them and then bring them in. We'll sign them and get them back there.
Um,
And the 21st, I think she mentioned, was the day that they're holding that little ceremony.
right.
I plan on being there. I think you're planning on being there, Tom. If you want to be there, I think it's a good
Yeah,
show support for the younger people in our town if we're there. So
what's the date on that?
I believe it was June 21st, but I'll get it confirmed. I didn't print the email with me for tonight.
Yeah, it was
What
6
you-
o'clock or 6 o'clock.
I think it's 6 o'clock, yeah,
For the kids graduating?
for the kids, yeah. They promotion.
Monday, the 21st at 6 p.m.
Okay. Good. Stone walls, Snow Road we covered, streetlights we covered, piles of sand we covered. Spectrum, I finally heard back from the executive on the government services side regarding franchise fee payments that we've gotten in the town over the years. The February 2020 payment was $6,871.47. The February 1 payment in 2021 was $7,084.63. So in doing a little bit of homework, this fee revenue used by other towns and cities in the state is used to help support the enhancement of cable TV, internet, and broadband utility improvements in town. So I'm thinking at a work session within the next few weeks, we probably ought to take a look at what we want to do there. And consider what we might want to look at. For that session, I'm also going to follow up with the Wolfboro Community Television folks, and they made a presentation to us around would we consider something, but it was very loose and broad, and I'd like to find out from them, give me some more specifics as to what it would look like and how it would work and things like that. So as part of the whole discussion around, videoing these meetings, taping these meetings, whatever we're gonna do in these meetings, that becomes part of that discussion. I followed up again, just to make sure, Lenny, on your question on Primex coverage for the health officers in appointed position. It's treated like any other elected or staff position relative to Primex coverage, so there's no exclusions to it at all. All right, anything in new business?
Touching back on your.
Yep.
Television channel there from Wolfboro.
Yep.
It's two different cable companies. Is that gonna be,
This is actually a public television station that happens to be based out of Wolfboro, but they apparently have a few towns which they have worked with to provide it. And when I was doing some homework online, I was finding out that like North Conway is part of a consortium of 5 or 6 towns where they do theirs online. Madison is a part of another consortium where they do 3 or 4 those town meetings online with a public television service. So I think it's worth considering. I'm saying I want to go that way, but because it was presented to us as an opportunity and I never even knew it existed, I think we're gonna take a look at it.
no, I was just wondering, if it, say it aired on channel 3, well, we have Spectrum and Wolfboro has MetroCast or whatever it is.
He did mention when he was talking to us that 3 or 4 of the towns they support besides Wolfboro use Spectrum. So he apparently has some kind of discussion going with Spectrum right now. And again, we need more information. We just don't have enough.
Didn't he say the cable companies are required to offer public education or town?
They have to
channels?
provide a channel for it.
Yeah, okay,
They already have one that exists.
right,
We're just not part of it. We don't have access to it.
right.
So, and it's just, it's part of the kind of the broad review of the whole thing. I think it's worth taking a look at to see where we might be.
Would be great.
I don't know what it would entail. All right, anything else? Okay, some new business stuff. We have a rather severe infestation of ticks at the transfer station near the appliance cage. I've asked Audrey to contact JP Pest Control to find out if we can spray something around that. In addition to that, I've asked her to take a look at purchasing tick tubes for ongoing tick management. They're not immediate. By putting the tubes down, it basically allows the mice and chipmunks and other small rodents to take the cotton balls back to their nests, and they're treated with a chemical that basically prevents ticks from going on the mice or those small rodents, because the small rodents are the first stage of the tick cycle. I've done it at my house now for about 18 months. The first year, I didn't notice anything. Second year, spring and fall, if we had 2 or 3 ticks on both dogs, we were lucky. It really eliminates the volume of ticks. When one of the techs was doing the Freon removal down in that appliance cage the other day, he took off the back of one of the panels that Mark was there, and he said the entire panel on the inside was completely covered in ticks. So he said the poor tech was only in there 10 minutes and had probably 80 or 100 ticks on him. So it's like, no, I walked away from that one. So I think we need to do something, because when we have patrons or citizens coming in to get rid of appliances, they need to take them down there. I don't want to have everybody walking away with a tick problem for themselves.
If we could mow it, weed whack it, and get the grass and stuff down short, it'd probably be less of a problem.
Yeah.
It'd be wise to do that if we're gonna spray something too.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I'm just trying to think with the stuff we've
Okay, so you
stored
get-
down there in the last year. I know we've got stuff stored over near there. We might have to look at that as a plan as we're moving stuff around, because I know we had put some stuff down near that in
Yeah, there's some
storage.
culverts and stuff.
Yeah. But I agree with you. We could have the guy that mows the cow mow around that, and weed whack around that too.
Yeah.
I don't know if the guys have a weed whacker at the transfer station. But I'll check with Bill, or you can check with Bill,
Yeah.
Rabel, find out if we do. And if
He's
we,
probably got a dozen of them in
Yeah.
here.
well, that's what I'm
Six
saying.
lots like that.
And, that's what I'm thinking, he probably can start, we have access to one and start it up and go down there and do that on a regular basis. Because we've only mowed the cap a few times a year, it's not like we're mowing it once a week. And the stuff is growing heavy down there on a regular basis, so. Yeah, if you can check with Bill.
I wonder if we should have some advice to the staff, because now that the Freon's taken out, we're gonna be ordering a container, and they manually put those refrigerators and everything into a container.
Yeah, that container's been ordered.
And that means they're going to be handling, so the staff is gonna be really vulnerable.
That's why I wanna get they're fully aware of the text.
I'm sure they are.
That's why I wanna try and get JP Pets down there, like sooner than later, to
Yeah.
find out if, I don't even know if there is something we can do immediate, I'm hoping the answer is yes, a spray or something like that. But at least help a little bit.
Both would burn it.
Ah.
Fire department would burn it.
Turkeys, bring in a flock of turkeys.
I'm just thinking of some of the ramifications of that, I'm not sure. But, all right, that's it for text. All right, NHMA is doing a webcast conference call this, I think Thursday, or actually tomorrow, the 26th. And it's regarding the National League of Cities briefing on American Rescue Act of 2021. So with that act, there should be money coming to the state, which will be distributed to towns and cities. We will be getting something based on a discussion that Mike had with one of the legislators, the Congress legislators. And this will explain what it's gonna be, how it's gonna work, and what the limitations are in using the money. So I've registered for it. I'm thinking if you guys have got time, you might wanna climb onto that one, because we wanna make sure with whatever we're getting, that we know ahead of time where we think we're gonna be able to use it for different things. It's gotta be essentially, if it's broadband related, we could put up more broadband. Now, I'm being facetious when I say that. But it's a lot of COVID, if it's related to COVID. And I'm thinking and I'm hoping, like I know Randy did house checks on a number of people when we were getting COVID money. And I'm hoping we could continue doing those under this plan. I just don't know enough information yet, but it's definitely worth being there. And Audrey, do you have the email that I shipped you the other day on, with that registration link on it?
I do,
Can you send that out to
Yeah.
sure.
Tom and Lenny?
Yeah.
Thanks.
And last thing I have underneath that, so I was notified in a phone call yesterday afternoon, there are actually a couple of citizen petitions delivered to the petitions delivered to the town. And due to the short notice, we're not even gonna look at them today, because I wanna look at them ahead of time. So I am going to basically say we're gonna take the petitions under advisement from this meeting, so that we have a chance to read them, research it. I do have asked Audrey to reach out to the legal counsel on a couple of them. So we'll be dealing with those, we're just not gonna be dealing with them today. Any questions? Okay,
Can we get copies of it to read?
yeah, I'm sure we can,
What
yes,
it is?
yes. I
So
mean,
we're ready
it's,
when we do
it's a
this.
public record, once we've had a chance to review it, I'm willing to put both petitions up on the town website.
Okay.
So, and people can see, what they want relative to the wording of cover letter, petition signatures, the whole bit, so. Anything else? That's what I had for new business. We're now down to the public comment section. If you are online and would like to comment publicly, please raise your hand in the chat room and Audrey will sign you into the meeting.
We all jumping in. Huh?
I I try to wait, almost
A
a
good couple
minute.
minutes just to see
Yeah.
you there.
It's surprising when you're being quiet how long 30 seconds takes. You watch too much Jeopardy. Is that a Jeopardy thing?
Is it?
Okay, there's no chat.
Nothing? Okay.
No, I believe we might have our appointment here now.
Mr. Hatch. Good timing.
Perfect timing. Come
Nice
on in.
open,
Pardon me?
nice open.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait until we get a little further out of this. John, have a
Hello,
seat, sir.
thank you, sir.
And gentlemen,
Good morning.
we said social distancing. We've had all our shots. You can leave your mask on if you want. If you
I
don't
had my
want to off,
shots.
you can take them off.
All right.
We've had our shots as well.
I'm figuring you guys already had the shots. That's kind of what I mentioned. So, for the public, we have John Hatch, who's one of the executives at Action Ambulance. And John, I'll let you introduce the other two gentlemen you brought with you.
Thank you. So this is Wayne Gilbert, is my acting general manager for the New Hampshire division. He works with me hand in hand every day on the occasion that I'm not around. And this is JT Harmon, one of my field supervisors who is about to take on the weekend supervision solely, because we feel that COVID's lightening up, and we think the area is going to get far busier than it has been, and we wanted to have another additional 24-hour day supervision on the weekends at that peak time. So that's why I have JT here with me.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
John had requested to come in today and introduce himself to the new selectman, Lenny Espy,
How you doing?
and
Welcome.
also kind of provide an update of what's going on within Action.
Sure. So once again, thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time.
Can I just-
Yep.
Chuck, is someone else expected here too? At 10?
Randy?
Randy was coming.
Should we wait on this or, because we were scheduled for 10? I don't want to hold you guys up at all.
Randy Felix?
Yeah.
She's coming to this meeting?
Yeah, because Randy Burbank couldn't make it.
She's on shift.
Oh, she is? I guess she won't be here then.
I didn't know about any of this.
That's what I was told.
I did not have any idea that she was even involved.
Yeah, Randy didn't tell me that yesterday, so
No.
it was just through
Because
you.
he had an appointment and he didn't know if he'd make it.
I would say go
All right.
ahead, yeah.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Sorry.
I'm good continuing, John.
Alright, so we're really excited. We just finished our 1 year mark. Things have gone extremely well. We started out last April, as you recall, when we took over the Ospey Valley. We're now here a year later, and things couldn't be going better for us. We're really excited about the opportunities that we have in helping and enhancing the valley's pre-hospital care. The fire chiefs that I'm involved with in the 6 towns have been all amazing and great to work with. Randy and I have developed a great relationship. He involves us with their weekly training, and we've taken part in, he's sent some of his people with our weekly trainings. So the collaboration has been phenomenal. We're really excited about that. You folks, touring our base, talking about equipment, the relationships, as I told you, are paramount for us to be successful prior to when we took the contract over. We really, really believe and try and walk the talk as being community partners. So, we really work hard to make sure that we have our reports and we get them into the administrators so that you guys can see the certain statistics we provide, which is response times, number of responses and where to. For special circumstances here, of course, we have a great presence because of Green Mountain and the issues up there. So it's important for us to stay in close contact for that.
Are you still identifying the Green Mountain Treatment Center calls as a kind of a separate sub-item on your?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we feel that's important for you guys to know, because if you didn't have Green Mountain, the call numbers, the volume would be substantially low compared to with Green Mountain. And I know that there's a dollar figure and a calculation that you folks have to work within the 6 towns, and that call volume is part of it. I feel, and I talked to Mr. Calhoun, the former representative, for us about this extensively, is if Green Mountain wasn't here, your piece of the pie would be substantially lower. We don't get involved in any of that, that's up to the 6 towns and you, but that's a factor that affects Effingham is the Green Mountain Treatment Center.
John,
So,
before you go on there, just for the edification of anybody that's looking at the tape. So we know Green Mountain Treatment Center increases our costs of ambulance care within the town of Effingham. Last year, the town did sign a contract with the Green Mountain Treatment Center for a payment of a fee structure, and I, off the top of my head, don't remember what that was, but I will get it the next meeting, so that we can know that at least some of those expenses, or a good portion of those expenses, are offset by a payment to the town by Green Mountain Treatment Center.
as I go on, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today is what we've done to enhance the service already, even post signing the contract. One of the things that we felt strongly about is paramedic service. And as you recall, and you sat on the ambulance committee, the contract calls for 3 dedicated ambulances in the area, 2 advanced level ambulance vehicles staffed at the advanced level, which is the same as your fire department's license is the advanced level, and then 1 paramedic unit 24 hours a day in the system. What we have done is through attrition, through hiring, one of the things that we felt strong about is as we look at the call volume, especially with not knowing the true call volume in the area because of the pandemic, now that that is loosening up, if you will, a lot of folks are coming here every single weekend. Last year, if you recall, probably 60% of the campgrounds were not open. This year, everything's open. And when you have more people, you have more incidences. So one of the things that we did about 3 months ago is put on an additional truck that we're calling an impact truck. This truck we try and staff it at the paramedic basic level. So it's at the paramedic level. And it's sort of a catch-all vehicle that we use 7 days a week, due to staffing. Our supervisors often are part of that crew to catch any additional calls that we may need, whether it be with a hospital contract or in the 6-town area. So in addition to the 3 contracted ambulances, Action itself put on another impact truck at the paramedic level just to help the system.
So that's over and above what the contract required, you added an additional vehicle.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, the second thing we've done to enhance the system is, as I talked to you, the contract calls for us to staff 3 units, 2 at the advanced level license, which, again, is how your fire department is licensed, and then 1 at the paramedic level. What we've done is, through attrition, and Wayne works with me every day on our master schedule, is when we have openings on the schedule, if a paramedic applies for a job, we're not saying no, all the paramedic slots are full. What we're doing is replacing them on an advanced slot. And my answer in the example to that is actually today. Today, because of what we've done with scheduling in the system, you have 3 paramedic trucks on, not 1 paramedic and 2 advanced. So, and we're continuing to do that throughout the week. The other day that is a lot like that is now on Thursday. Same thing, we have paramedics on each truck in each location. So as we change our staffing, instead of saying, no, we don't have room for a paramedic, we're bringing them on and we're keeping them on, which just advances the level of service to the valley. So that's something far and above what the contract calls for, but we feel as a community partner, it's something that we wanted to do and show the 6 towns that, we weren't just stopping at the norm. We weren't just stopping at what the contract says. Where we see an advantage of providing better service, we take it. And that's one of the things that we've done. Actually, on Mondays, instead of 2 advanced trucks and a paramedic truck, you have 2 paramedic trucks and an advanced truck. Again, Tuesdays now you have 3 paramedic trucks. So these are some of the things that we're doing as we continuously look at those reports we provide to you folks. We look at those reports too and see where we can better give additional services. So that's some of the exciting things that we're learning and we're moving through. There's a lot of great opportunity. Working with our medical direction from Memorial Hospital and also working with our community partners at Huggins, the education that we're giving to our employees, the services that we share with both hospitals and working in conjunction with both medical directors has been second to none. So we're really excited for the future to get even better.
So I haven't verified it, but I know I requested last year we add a section onto our town website where we would post your reports. I will check that this week to make sure that actually happened. And make sure it's there.
That's exciting because we're really proud of that data and we're really proud to show the residents as to exactly what they're getting.
And that's exactly what they need to see.
Yeah.
Full transparency on what's going on with ambulance.
100%.
Okay, so I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Sure.
Whether you want to answer it or not is your choice, but I want to do a what if.
Sure.
So if we were in a scenario today where we had a mass casualty event, say 25 and 16, massive car pileup.
Yep.
What would the response look like for the number of units coming into that particular?
So that would probably come to us from Carroll County as what they consider a Delta Echo level call. That's the highest level of call. That means a paramedic response. So initially, our 2 trucks in Ossipee would immediately be dispatched to the scene. You'd have the paramedic truck right here on 16 and the advanced truck on Ossipee head to the scene. Because of that nature, and again, you're talking about today, because of that nature, JT would probably be in the supervisor vehicle, which is separate, and heading that way. So you get 3 units on the immediate call. At the same time, our advanced truck in Tamworth, would be coming down to what we call the line, and that's Pizza Barn. That's where we have the midpoint of the area. So they're at the same time as those 2 ambulances responding to the accident, they are being dispatched to the line. So they're already moving. Once that first ambulance got on scene and said, oh boy, that truck now immediately would be heading to the scene. Because of the magnitude of the call, at the same time, because as I already told you guys, we would move all the time. Our memorial truck would be heading to the Pizza Barn. So now you have the 3 trucks in the system heading to that accident scene. You have our supervisor also in a unit heading to that scene. And you have our other transfer unit, the paramedic interfacility transfer care truck coming to the pizza bun. Now, if JT gets there and says, we need another unit, so that truck at the pizza bun now comes. So now at that scene, you have the 3 trucks that are in the system, you have the memorial truck, so that's 4, okay? And then you have JT there, who is either in a non-transporting unit or transporting unit. At that time, we would probably inactivate our call-in system to have let people know what's happening. All the people that live in the area would be sent to Tamworth to get a spare vehicle. And we always try to have 2 spare vehicles. By contract, as you know, we have to have 1. We've changed that to have 2 spare vehicles. So now we would have other personnel going to Tamworth to pick up the spare vehicles to bring to the scene. Because don't forget, we can bring a vehicle to the scene as long as we staff it, but any other person from any fire department can assist us by driving the vehicle. So just by your scenario alone, the one that you just laid out for this minute, you're talking our 3 ambulances, the memorial truck, which is 4, a supervisor, which is 5, and then from Collins, if anybody was in the area, they could go pick anybody, could even be a fire department, could go by and pick up our spare trucks in Tamworth to bring them to the scene.
And I'm gonna guess, I'm hoping I'm guessing correctly, since you took the contract over, we haven't had one of those, have we?
So the crazy thing is,
We did.
we did, and we had it the second day of the contract. April 2nd, there was a bus accident, a school bus accident, up here, and we didn't know what we had. And we had to, in fact, that scenario happened. It turns out that we only transport, I believe, 4 patients from the scene, but it actually did happen. It was a school bus accident, and it happened on the second day of our having the contract. Thank God, nothing like that has happened ever since. We've had extra ambulances and supervisors go to fire scenes for rehab and whatnot, but nothing to that magnitude that you just described.
Okay. Questions, Tom, Lenny?
And those 2 spare vehicles you got in Tamworth, they are in service, they're just spares.
Yep. We're by contract, we're required to have 1 spare all the time.
Yeah.
And we just recently, again, us preparing for the summer months, decided that it would be smart to have an additional spare up here. JT actually is in charge of our fleet for the area. He works with our corporate office on a daily basis on truck movements. JC's also been responsible for the replacement of our trucks, which I'm excited to talk about as well. As you recall, in our meeting setting up the contract, we had talked about giving the contract brand new ambulances as the time went on. The first ambulance we were supposed to give to the contract, brand new, zero mileage, was supposed to happen this April, April 2021. But with what we do, it was better for us that we brought that truck up here in December of 2020. So the first brand new ambulance that actually provided to the contract was in December of 2020. The next ambulance by contract is supposed to come a year later. Proud to say that through a lot of our hard work, the next brand new ambulance will be up here in, 10 days to 2 weeks. It's already been lettered, and we're just waiting for the radio shop to install the radios. It's sitting in Wilmington. So that would be the second brand new ambulance up here for the contract. And the big ambulance that was a lot talked about in our negotiations when we talked about putting the contract together was to have a specialized ambulance, paramedic unit in the system that was four-wheel drive. Currently, we have two four-wheel drive units in the system. They're older, but this brand new unit and COVID has affected a lot. We were actually supposed to take delivery of it in January. It's with the upfitters due to radio construction and all that. We're supposed to take possession of it, if you will, sometime in July, but it's purchased, it's being upfitted, we have the radios, we're just waiting for it to show up. So that ambulance that we were going to be providing to the contract in 2022 actually would be here sometime this summer. And we're excited about that. So that will mean that all three of our contracted trucks in the area will be brand new.
Nice.
So the spare trucks are how old?
So I'm not sure of the age of each spare truck, but we can only have a vehicle in the system for the system that's less than 10 years old by contract.
Right.
Those trucks are in fact in that system.
I'm just wondering if they were outdated or not.
We actually do have one truck that's outdated. It's our truck affectionately known as Big Red. It's at the 10-year mark. It's being repaired right now. And that's the reason why we have the brand new truck coming up this week.
Anything else, Lenny?
Thank you
John?
for what you do.
Yes,
Thank you.
definitely thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Our quality of coverage in this town went up dramatically when you took the
Well,
contract.
we're excited, and one thing that we talked about, and why we did so much homework a year prior to bidding on it, was to learn in the area and seeing what you guys had been provided, not by the last provider, but the last two providers, and what we would do different. And the one thing that we committed to was at Memorial and at Huggins. When we actually went to those folks for medical direction and pharmacy agreements, they did not want the same old. We basically went through an interview process with them, and our medical director, who is awesome, and he works in conjunction with our corporate medical director, Brian Canterbury from the Boston Hospital. Dr. Dunn was not going to accept the norm. And we made a commitment to him that if he was our medical director, working with him, working with the good folks at Huggins like Janet Williamson, that we were going to enhance the level of pre-hospital care, and that's something that we stay true to. Every one of our patient refusals, and that's important, every one of our critical care calls, and because of the size of the division that we have, most every call goes through our CQI process, happens daily and weekly. All of our EMTs' skills are looked at through these room reports. They're communicated with weekly. We have education. We have mentors for these people to make sure that we keep our promise to Dr. Dunn and to the area. We were not going to be like the past two providers. When I came up here, we made a commitment to the area to become community partners and far exceed the expectations of what you folks were looking for.
You've done that so far,
Well,
in my opinion.
I have not done that.
Where we were,
I have not done that. These guys have. The EMTs and paramedics that are in the units every single day, those are the folks that care. Those are the folks that are making this possible. We are the least important in action. It's our job to support them and give them the education and the supplies that they need to do what they do every day.
I understand, John, that Mike had been working on scheduling quarterly meetings.
Yes,
And think, I remember hearing it was supposed to be the next one in September, is
Correct,
that correct?
correct.
Okay. We'll get the dates on that to make sure that's on our calendar.
Yep.
So that we can be in that meeting for the discussion,
Yes.
so.
No, we're excited about that. We really, we're grateful and honored that the Six-Town Ambulance Committee felt that, everything was going well in my communication with the fire chiefs. They didn't need to have those meetings. Mike was a very staunch advocate to keep to those meetings. And I think the Six-Town Commission, if you will, feels strongly about that too. As do we. We want to be able to report back and forth to everybody as to what goes on, give you the information that we had, answer any questions that you've had. So, yes, our communication, like, for instance, your fire chief can call me up on my cell phone any time of the day or night and has. That's the same for all the other towns. But that doesn't give you folks, the selectmen and the town's administrators, the day-to-day information that you may need too. And that's why we are also advocates of having that quarterly meeting, just for a simple give and take and updates.
I remember during the contract discussions, we talked about, being able to have meetings and share information when things weren't going well.
Right.
How has that been working with the different towns? Have you been able to address the one-on-one with the town and
So the only thing that I can say that, we've had a couple of issues that weren't going well. Effingham has never been an issue. The one thing that we communicate a lot with is about Green Mountain and what goes on up there. I don't know who's taking Mike's place as far as if there's anybody taking Mike's place as far as the health director for the town.
Mike is actually remaining as the health officer for the town?
So I will need to call, after this meeting, I need to call Mike about an issue there. I can't just talk about it because of HIPAA, but those kind of communications happen often. We only had one concern, if you will call it an issue, and I called the Six-Town Ambulance Committee to activate a meeting, which happened 2 weeks ago. We talked about the issue was maybe 5 minutes, and then we moved on. It was an issue with another town. I feel it was a miscommunication. We've straightened it out, and it had nothing to do with patient care or nothing to do with ambulance service.
So communication between parties actually works.
It does.
Okay.
Fantastic. So I communicate, just for example, Chief Burbank has my cell phone. We communicate when we need. Once a week, once a month, doesn't matter. I have a standing call with Chief Riley from Colonoscopy every Friday afternoon. Chief Cuneo and I speak usually every Monday morning. Chief Cullen and I up at Centeroscopy, you speak whenever he needs, but usually it's every Tuesday. So I stretch it out like that. Chief Clark in Madison, same thing. And even though we don't work with Conway, I still communicate with Chief Solomon and Chief Merrill. We've built a great network. Chief Priest up in North Conway has been also great to us, and offering trainings and sharing training. So I'm proud to say that our communication, I speak to a fire chief, especially in our system, once a week, if needed. So communication is key, and we talked about that from the very beginning.
Well, that's all I have for questions.
Well,
Anything else that?
I just am grateful. I want to congratulate you and your victory, and I wanted to, make sure that if, we have a good working relationship here, and anytime that you guys need any data or information, just call. But other than that, again, we're blessed to be here. We're so happy to be community partners, and we're happy to help out. What Chief Burbank has done more than a lot of folks is great. Our guys get to work with your guys and train with them every Thursday. It works, and it's good for camaraderie and communication. So we're pretty happy overall. So if you don't have anything else, I thank you for having us.
Audrey, do you have anything?
I
Is
don't,
a question
no,
or
I
clarification or?
don't know if the latest and greatest reports on the website, we have some changes of staff and I'll make sure that gets up there.
Okay.
And I wanna thank you for your quick response to getting something in our annual report.
Oh, thank you
That
for
was
that.
good.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
John, thank you very much for coming in.
I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to be here, and if you need anything, just feel free to call.
Will do.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
All right. How you doing?
Oh, Burbank couldn't come. Did you guys need anything from the fire department? Chief couldn't be here.
No, this was high level, Brandy.
High level. That's okay.
We didn't get into the weeds and
I
anything.
think that sounds beautiful. Beautiful. It's a very tricky area for me to be in, being on the fire department and working for them. So I like working for them. It's not a bad company. So, but I keep them on his toes. So it's okay.
And for those that are listening to that mic and can't see Brandy, it's Brandy Felix.
Oh yes, I am Brandy Felix. Oh, that's right. Yes, I'm the lieutenant on the fire department. I do all the EMS. So, but no, I think he caught on really quick that I'm like, excuse me? Because it's a good company and I think they could do better, but I feel that way with a lot of places.
We are definitely way ahead of where we had that.
I think it's fantastic compared to what we have. I'm proud to work there. So, just like I'm proud of where the fire departments come from too. So, I think there's a lot of good and I think there's gonna be a lot more coming along, so. But if you don't need anything, Chief couldn't come. So he had mentioned.
Yeah, Lenny had mentioned he had
Yeah,
another commitment.
they probably could have told me too, but told me like a half hour because I knew I was gonna be a few minutes late. He literally told me, he was like, oh yeah, I'm not coming. I'm like, what? Oh, so you really need it. Mm. That communication thing we're still working on. It's okay. I'll let you guys get back to your fun.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a safe day.
All right. She was just leaving. Non-public, do we need one? Okay, we're not doing an adjournment right now. I would like to take a 5-minute recess before we start into our work session. If that's agreeable to everybody.
Yep.
Good,
Excuse me, do you want me to record the work session or? not?
please, yep.
Okay, all right, I will pause the video for now.
Smoke break.
Well, we had scheduled this last week, and I basically, from a scheduling standpoint, would like to pick like the first meeting of the month and the third meeting of the month and just add work sessions. Either on the front or behind them, depending on what the meeting time is. We don't need to do something every single week.
Mhm.
We did a ton of stuff last year, but there's still some work to be done. Actually the last 2 years. So I'm asking the question, well, to try it as a beginning schedule, basically twice a month work,
Works for me.
Lenny?
Yeah, start there.
Okay. So what I did last night, is I actually made some photocopies, I just passed those out to you. The personnel policy was the first one I want to take a look at. So the select board started working on this one in a number of different meetings, and it was going like really, really slow. So when Audrey came on, Audrey said, myself and Grace Fuller and Audrey work on the draft. And Grace has a lot of experience in her former corporate roles and compliance, working with legal around these numerous areas. She made some very strong edits and suggestions for additional information requirements that we need to look at adding in. So just as an example, the last 2 pages of the document was an add-on, but it's dealing with cybersecurity. We need to have something in our documents, we have nothing. So that will not be the exact wording going in, it's that's a placeholder for making sure that that happens. So I printed this so you'd have a copy of it, and I think, Lenny, that I emailed you a copy of this too, so you've actually got it on the computer. If not, let me know and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And the question I have is, how deeply involved do the two of you want to be in what I'm gonna call the initial draft before we sit down and discuss it as a select board? I'm
Yes.
willing to work on it with Grace and Audrey, and we're a little over half done right now, but it's got some more stuff to do.
I'd say stick with that. I mean, instead of adding new people into the mix, we're already halfway through.
And I confirmed with Grace that she would commit to the last time we did it was like a 2-hour meeting. And we were doing Zoom calls, so we were actually really making some progress with it. And then Grace acted as the documentation person. And within about 3 hours had all the comments incorporated and sent back out again. So a lot of the comments in the right-hand column, you'll see where I made comments with CF, you'll see where she's made comments as GF. So I'll work with Audrey on that.
So you've been, by the looks, you've been through this pretty much the whole way.
We did,
Yeah.
yeah, there's not a whole lot left before it'll come back to us. Once we've got it done, there's 2 or 3 areas in there that just based on current case law, we should run by the town council. Because some of the language in here was lifted 4, 5, 6 years ago, which was language at the time. And I know some of it's been modified through case law since then.
So you've actually noted legal review, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not gonna ask them to review the entire document. I'm gonna ask them to review the areas that we've marked legal review. And hopefully that'll cut down on our cost of that. I don't wanna go out and become a publisher of a book. But I think we need to have it just reviewed before we adopt it off. So Lenny, take a look at it.
Yeah.
And if you get any questions before the next work session, we can either raise them here in this meeting or send Audrey an email and have her forward it to me. And I'll see if I can address the question and I'll put it back for her review. So. Sound like a plan?
It does.
The red stuff has been changed, added, and whatever.
Yeah, and you see some of it, you can see where whole chunks of it were like deleted, but the deletion's there in red.
Mhm.
Now, I will tell you, some of the stuff, this good sized chunks of deletion stuff, it was in the wrong place in the document. So it's actually been moved to another area of the document with a minor amount of wordsmithing. So, yeah, there's been some major work effort already done. Okay.
Real exciting meeting too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the legalese is like, yeah, it's
We
like,
won't be able to put it that way.
but the issue is, and when we started the process a year ago, none of the employees in the building had ever seen the documents that existed. So part of the process we will implement, once we've approved it, is we will make sure everybody's got a copy of it. And both digital as well as in paper, so they know what it is. So. and
Would this be in the employee package that hopefully will?
No, this will be posted on the doc section of the,
I mean, like a new hire comes on, is this gonna be in this?
that will be part of the new fill out your form packet.
Right.
Here's a copy of the document. Okay, I see what you're doing there. So,
I have Grace for all the work she's been putting into this.
she's got a few hours into it, so, but what she did in a few hours would have taken us days, and then still had to be reviewed.
Yeah, one little thing we would have had to discuss.
For hours.
Yeah. All right, The next item, which is a printout, is the transfer station ordinance. And Barbara was kind enough to remind me that I forgot to include the brochure that we put together to hand out. We do know that there's gotta be some edits to this. The section that deals with the, out-of-state vehicle registration only being available by a red ticket between Memorial Day, Labor Day, that whole thing, there's really no reason for it. If somebody's paying $1 for the sticker and they happen to be here in February and they own the property and they're up here on vacation, there should be no reason why they can't bring something over to the transfer station.
Exactly.
I just, when Mark brought it up this year, it's like, yeah, okay, I know we had it in there because it hadn't been in there, but it's time to look at changing that. So that's just one example. Lenny, I had asked Bill Rabel and Mark to review the documents and come up with anything that they think is missing in the document. His immediate reaction was lawnmowers and furnaces and
Boilers.
what?
Furnace and a boiler.
Yeah, furnace boiler, right. So it's not referenced at all, and they're big enough ticket items that we should add them in here. We did know when we originally went into it. I actually reached out to every single town around us and then did a merge of all of the pieces that were the good pieces out of all those documents. That's kind of how we arrived at what we've got here. But it's not perfect. And we also know that we cannot answer every single question that'll ever be raised in the document. And the transfer station attendants have been given discretion when it's not physically referenced in here, that they can handle it to their best ability.
Now, there's a question on, like on a furnace, you got all the ductwork too. Is that gonna be part of the furnace, or is that gonna be an extra load?
I haven't gotten there yet. I think the key thing is we need to find out from Bill. We need to get feedback from Bill first to say, hey, where are you with the request?
Right.
And literally then come back and we'll deal with it. 'Cause I don't think we need to make major changes in the ordinance, but we do need to edit some stuff and we need to update the brochure.
Right.
So, Lenny, can you follow up with Bill and
Yeah, let's see.
see what he's got for comments
Yeah.
and capture them? And
Yeah, because with the riding lawnmowers, Mark was talking, I talked to Mark a couple months ago, or whatever it was in here. He said, because the tires are on it, they're inflatable tires.
If we're gonna take lawnmowers, it's the
Well,
push.
no, it's not.
mowers.
I know, what about those riding mowers?
Um,
They got inflatable tires, which Mark says, you get $10 for them too, or?
if they'd have to charge for the tires, they'd have to charge for the unit,
Right,
and then I wouldn't accept it unless they were broken down already. Cause it means now you gotta do tire breakdown of an inflated tire, and that's not part of what, I don't wanna be in the tire repair.
yeah, it's, yeah.
So but that's all part of the discussion, Tom, how do we deal with it?
Didn't they, I don't know if they still do, but, I thought the tire company did take them if they were still on the wheel. Probably,
I don't remember,
I think they did at one time, maybe
I
I don't
don't,
know if anything.
we haven't done it on the rims in a long time, so I don't know.
Most people just bring in the tire, right?
Yeah. So, and we did have one citizen that came into Mark and she wanted to bring in 100 tires.
Yeah.
And I just said, no, that's a commercial,
Yeah.
We'll get you the name of our tire guy out of Massachusetts and give you the name, but you've got to make that connection to do that. We're just not equipped to handle 100 tires in one shot.
But I guess what I was trying to get at on the riding mower was with the tires, we're gonna maybe put one price in for the riding mower, knowing that these tires on it.
I want to talk about it because some of the riding mowers are metal housings. Most of the newer ones are plastic housings. So that means we'd have to strip it down to get rid of it. And I want to think about that one. I want to talk about that one. Because I don't want to have Bill spend 8 hours stripping down a lawnmower, to throw plastic in the demo, throw the metal in this, and throw the tires over here. I don't think that's good use of our time.
Right.
But that's, we need to talk about it.
Mhm.
So that's just one thought.
And I don't know, if it's in the requirement, but all motors were supposed to be draining gas and oil when they brought in.
I haven't read it in a while, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I thought there was reference to that, but I don't know. But that's why we need to review it, whatever.
Yeah.
We've been at it now for a year and a half, coming up on 2 years. And it's time to listen to what's going on and make some updates. And then once we get done the updates on the ordinance, then we'll go back and make the changes we need to on the brochure. And the key thing is trying to get alignment between what's in the ordinance and in the brochure itself.
Mhm.
I would take comments, Lenny, from all the guys at the station. We put certain things down here we thought were the big important things. And the reality is, I know in the early days, they had a bunch of little things, which were the consistent little things that people asked about. So we might want to redesign the brochure, take out a couple of bigger things, reference the ordinance, and speak to the little things that are the things that the guys get questions on all the time. So. All right. And we did implement, Lenny, we did implement the capability for the town to assess fines and for us to receive the income. We had to go through a little bit of a legal maneuver on that to get that done, but that was done. So when the town sets fines on town things, now we can actually legally accept the money. Any other questions at this point on the ordinance? There was only one little tiny item, and I don't know if it printed in red. One of the periods I forgot to pull the yellow off. Other than that, I don't think there's any edits, color edits on the document that I just gave you. I can't even find the other one I saw last night, so we should be good. I pulled this off the town website. So I printed it from the town website. This is what we currently have up in standing. Okay, used oil. I think you and I, Tom, need to pull together some photocopies of all the research we did last year so we can give a folder to Lenny. So he can see what we looked at behind that whole thing. And I didn't bring mine with me, but that tank from Midwest Tanks, have you got that in there?
I believe so.
Yep, that's the one. So there's work. Kevin Cody was hired to build the containment in that new little roof near the shed that was in that cutout. He's got to do some sealer, which I understand the sealer came in
It's down there.
to seal the concrete. Mark and Bill Rabel discovered that metal tubing,
Bumper post.
the bumper post,
Yeah.
apparently is just sitting there, and every time it rains, the rain goes in there and immediately goes down into it. So we might consider just removing that and fill it with concrete or something, so we don't get the drainage down in there anymore.
Yeah, Kevin, when I talked to him a week and a half ago, he said he had to figure out how to patch it. I don't know if it's the size of the hole, what was the best way to patch the hole.
Okay.
That's what he was saying. I don't know how big the holes are.
They look like they're pretty good
Yeah,
size.
so you'd have to.
I mean,
figure out-
you'd at least have to, put a plywood plank underneath it.
Right.
Yeah.
Put fencing or rebar or whatever you're gonna put in it, and then put something in there that's a really heavy, sturdy concrete,
Then I think any method of seal, you gotta just seal
seal the top of
the
it.
top of it.
Oh, that would work too.
After
But that, other than that, it looks like it's pretty tight. He hasn't, I don't know if he's ordered the door, but it was one of those steel roll-up doors that would be down on that other side to be able to do that and pull it up. We did check the size of the lip that he poured last year on the front end of it to make sure that the entire area was big enough to meet all the government required spillover requirements in case something got done. We had also talked about adding an additional spillover containment, if we were using, new barrels for a purpose, versus the, tank. I'm in favor of the tank, because that's a 15 or a 20-year solution, not a 5-year solution. But we can talk about that once you get a chance to review it.
We also have Clean Harbors up here, meeting with us, to explain to us the process of getting rid of the oil. This does all come online. And I got some information here too. I'll copy this whole folder for you.
Before they used to test it,
Yeah,
make sure there was no contaminants, and
Still
then they come and pump it out.
Well, and one of the reasons that tank you have in front of you is a double tank, too. So if we knew we had, and they provided a test kit to us as a sample, if the guys smell something they know shouldn't be in there, they'll actually be able to test it. And if we needed to, we could use one side of that tank for contaminated and the other side for regular oil. Because once you pull the contamination out, apparently you can't use the tank for a period of time.
and that can be built to any size you need, correct? The 2 compartments?
Yeah,
Equal?
the unit itself comes in, the size you have in front of you there was one that would fit within that width. And I had originally had them just throw me a price at like $250 and $250, but we could do it $100, $350. I mean, we could do a different scenario without any problem. I'm thinking staying more toward the middle of the road, only because of if we get a contaminated 350 gallons, that would be an expensive removal. And then we need to talk about the price we're gonna charge for the oil from a removal standpoint. If it's regular oil, not a problem. If for some reason somebody slipped something in there, it was big dollars per gallon to get it out. And then you had to clean the container, you had to do a whole bunch of stuff. So, there's also, Mike has offered to reach out to DES, because apparently it's gotta be done before July 1, submitting this year's up to $2,500 grant to be able to get funding to help pay for this. And it's a 50-50 or 55-45 match. But that would allow us to be able to go in then and use grant money. We didn't use $2,500 last year, but apparently you can apply for it every year, so. We'll take a look at that. Once you've had a chance to digest that, Lenny, we can schedule it into a work session and talk about what path we want to go going forward. Tom, was the price tag, Lenny, is the price tag of that tank on there?
It was $7,400, but his tank says 35-34. That's quote 35-35. It's crossed out the 7,400 written in there.
Okay, one of the things we'll do is I'll send you the email of the contact person there. And we can get an updated price.
I'll get the estimate right here, Joe.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, there's the written right there. Yeah, the tank is 37.
And Safe Harbors charges them, and then when you call them up, and you quarter full. It's last year was $165 for trip charge and a pump out, $1 a gallon. Is what they charge us, from what I got here.
Did you remember, what was the, if it's contaminated, what was the price? Did you have that?
Oh, that was, I'm sorry, that was contaminated. But each sample is $85.
Yeah. So when they come up, so the kits were like, what, $8 or something?
Mm-hmm.
So if and he actually gave us 8 of the
Right.
kits, and I've got them up in my garage, but I didn't want to lose them down the transfer station. But they were freebies, so that if somebody brings in a 5-gallon bucket and the guys have a question what's in there, they can physically do the task right there and determine whether it's contaminated or not.
They were saying very old oil becomes contaminated after so long.
Yeah, goes up the slide.
Well, they say, gas will contaminate thinner. Contaminate you will.
Yep.
Yeah. But water, they don't. I got on here, recheck that.
Well, because it's been pretty much a year before we simply talked to him.
Right.
If he's willing, either call in or come in, we probably ought to take a look at it and come back in once we start making decisions on what we're gonna do.
I got his contact info here.
So that particular steel tank, there one actually has a pouring section. So if somebody spills, it's actually captured inside the top, near the top of the tank. And we had talked about a belt and suspenders approach. So even though we've got the concrete set up, we'd actually even talked about putting a container underneath it. Might be a little overkill, but I think we'll just talk about it a little again and figure out where to go with it. All right, next item, I did a print of a document, for the Snow Road Bridge paving. So Hanson has, contracted with, R&D paving to do the, bridge itself. So the deck of the bridge will be done by R&D. And one of the things that had been planned on from last year were the discussions regarding the allotment of money for roads this year, the 250,000 thereabouts, was using a portion of that to pave Snow Road from 153 up to the transfer station where it is now. And then basically put it out to bid. So this is actually an RFP. Wording we've used in the past. Scope of work. It looks like it needs a utility pole number. I'll get that today and send that over to Audrey.
Which number do you use, power company, phone company?
Which one should I use, sir? Yeah, it's more in your background than mine, so I suppose I can, depending on what's on there, I can put both. That way there's no, I don't know. I'll take a picture and we'll do all. It's pretty easy to determine where the pole is, but I understand for the bid specs, they don't know exactly what it is. Let me make a note. Get all numbers. Okay. And then the last page is actually the advertisement that would go in the paper. Standard wording we've used in the past. And I think we're okay with that. If the due date is by 2 p.m., we gotta make a decision on how long we want it out there. I don't think we can put it out there for 2 months. We've gotta make it pretty quick, like 3 weeks or so. How does everybody feel about a date?
Yeah.
If we-
July 1st, no later than July 1st. I mean, you're talking, what, the end of July for the bridge be done?
Yeah, and I'm sure that R&D is gonna, because they're already gonna have their equipment out there, I'm sure they're gonna put in a bid for it. I would think we probably ought to do it by mid-June.
Well, we do that too.
If we said they had to be back in by the close of business on the 14th, that gives people 3 weeks. No, gives you 2.5 weeks. If we get the ad out in the paper within the next day or two. What we could do, if we had to, we could post a selectmen's meeting on Thursday or Friday, the 17th, 18th, with the only purpose to open up those bids. So we literally give close to a 3-week time period.
The procurement policy, doesn't that say it has to be a minimum of 3 weeks?
I believe so. But on this too, on, going that far back, instead of moving to July, because they're gonna commit, they're gonna be ready to go at the end of July, we figure maybe.
No, they're gonna be, the bridge will be done by July first.
Okay, all right.
Paving's gonna take place
All right.
before July first.
Yeah,
All right. But I think we, as you just said, we'll take a look at the date and procurement policy from a posting standpoint. Figure out what we need from that, how soon can we get it up this week, do 3 weeks out from there.
Yeah.
Or whatever the time period is in the procurement. And if we need to schedule a short selectmen's meeting for, opening the bids, we'll do that. That work?
Yep.
Okay. I'll check those procurement advertising dates for where. All right, okay. Our Town Energy Alliance. So, Lane, the discussion came up, and it was only a couple months ago, when we were signing all the OP gas bills in the middle of the winter time. Have we ever taken a look at as municipality joining some kind of alliance that would do large purchasing power? So I contacted LRPC and got nothing. I contacted the state, they got nothing other than individual state contracts for state buildings. But we can't leverage any of those. The one big alliance that I'm aware of is our Town Energy Alliance out of Barnstead. And I traded some, because I've been with them for like 15 years. And I traded some emails with Donna around what do they need to review to determine what we might be able to do for the town, Effingham and our 4 property. And the first big thing is addresses, tank sizes, in ground or above ground, and the last 12 months worth of bills. So I looked at all the bills, I wrote everything up, we confirmed the tank sizes, and I sent it off to her late last week. So what I'm hoping to get back is some kind of an indication of where they think the prices might be this year, because I know they've already started their bid process. We have to make a decision before June 30th whether we're in and out, because it goes from July 1 to June 30th annually. And if we decide we just don't have enough information or we don't want to do it, then we just stay where we are with the Mary Gas and go with rack rate. Right now, we're subject to whatever happens in the market. With our Town Energy, there's a bracketed scale. The more you purchase, the less the rate is, but then the rate is locked in for that entire time period from, I think it's October 1 to April 30th, May 1st, which covers our big season when we need all that stuff. When we get the information back on that, hopefully before the 30th, we can make a decision where we think it's a better deal. If we don't have their pricing by then, and we paid the fee, we could still wait until the pricing came in. So they go all throughout the year and doing different buy buckets. If we did the fee, went in, we're there. If we like what the price is, then we sign on. If we don't like what the price is compared to what we've got, then we just basically, the fee is the only thing we're giving up. So, and we're talking something like $100, $110. So it's not big money. And it's 4 locations, 4 buildings. So I don't know how you feel about it. It's like,
They won't put them all together, right? They're gonna be separate.
No, that was my first question, because Mike said, well, I've got mine together. Well, what she explained to me when I went in and asked that question is if you have multiple buildings at the same address. So you have like 3 furnaces, 3 buildings with the same address, they'll allow that to be put into one,
Not a different location.
but not at different locations. So each location is treated as different, and would have a different lock-in.
Hopefully. Be right back.
Okay. But yeah, so that's what that is. We'll take 2 minutes. While Mr. Espy stepped up.
I don't know, Labber.
I'm doing good. How are you? I brought you soup and chowder. I remember this morning to go shopping downstairs in my freezer. I hope your wife enjoys.
Supposed to be real hot tomorrow, huh?
Yes.
90 they said?
Yes.
Yeah, Gracie heard maybe we get spot showers with it, so I don't know if that's, I just hope the pollen is about done.
Yes. So you want me to have Randy contact you about the AC in the library?
Randy hasn't contacted me about it. Leo and I actually installed it last year. Because we ended up having to build a special bracket to hold the air conditioner up.
Right.
So it wasn't on the window. The one window we had restored, when they brought it back and installed it, they couldn't get the weather stripping to work right. The whole window had been bowed about 3/4 of an inch out, because they used to just put the heavy air conditioner against the window and let it lean out the window.
Yeah.
And it bent it. So they only put one in last year. And they put it in the, rather than the 2, in the library stack area. So we got one of the stands and one of the air conditioners for there. The thing I haven't checked yet, and I asked Grace to check on it today, she's down there doing an interview, is to find out whether they think they need the back room, the larger room on the first floor, with that put in there. We didn't do it last year. It wasn't bad in there at all. But if they want to put it in, we've got to build another rack, and I'll get Leo Racine to help me. We'll pull it together, get down, and put it up. So, that was a question of library air conditioners.
So you don't need to have in, Randy to contact you?
No, yeah, you can.
Because I'm gonna see in this afternoon, because the AC.
All right, kind of just relay what I just told you.
Perfect. I would do that.
If Leo and I are going down to build it, we can put them both in
Okay.
this year. Next year, hopefully, we don't have to worry about them all, but for this year, we'll take care of it.
Good enough.
Okay. Okay, so our town energy, any questions? Do you know, are you familiar with them, Blake?
Yeah. In the past, I know the propane contracts has been Easton,
They've actually got 3 or 4.
but the lady that I work on Grand, she has Irving, but she gets the price from the Alliance and she calls Irving and says, can you match it? If not, I'm the expense. So I mean, AmeriGas, Irving won't put, their gas in AmeriGas tank or Easton tank.
So yes, correct. So they
So I don't know
require,
if there's a fee if they.
in my discussion, anything that's an above ground tank, let them go near empty, and then take the tank away, and a new LP gas company like Eastern will bring in their tank.
Yeah.
For the in-ground tank we have, we got 1 out of 4 that's in the ground. We would actually have to pay to have it pressure tested. They said it wasn't expensive, but it would still have to, the town would be incumbent upon testing the pressure in that tank. And just providing the report to the company. So that's all I have on that one at this point.
Yeah, probably the in-ground tanks to the town law, probably.
My understanding is when we bought the building, the tank was there.
Yeah, but I mean, the tank if it goes in the ground, you have to buy it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can also, I guess, purchase above ground tank.
You can.
Yeah.
The nice thing about where it's already in the ground, at least under Eastern's contract, whatever that tiered price is, because of the in-ground contract, they take off 10 cents a gallon. Because of the in-ground tank. So. Okay, so I'm gonna hopefully get some more information on that within the next week and get that to us. So, that's all I have from a work session standpoint today. So moving forward, if there's anything that you want to put on an agenda, please get it out to Audrey, so she can add it to a work session agenda. And we'll look at the schedule and come up with something every 2 weeks, or twice a month, not every 2 weeks, twice a month.
I'm gonna set the date now for next one.
Yeah, we can do that. That would work perfect. Today's 25. Well, we could see if we can make some, go for next week, so the 2nd and the 16th. And then this, so the 2nd and the 16th.
The 16th to Wednesday. We meet Tuesday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Dave,
We just moved it next.
No, yeah, we moved it to the next one. That's
yeah, why do we do that?
right. Because of
Memorial Day is Monday.
yeah, they can't process the payroll. So we can't do that, we can't sign that.
No.
That's the only reason.
Yeah,
And because of the way the holidays fell last year, you know, in the fall, we had to have it one other time too. So,
Oh, if we met at 5 o'clock, we could do it on Tuesday. Because they've got the payroll done. I get you.
that could be, yeah.
I get you.
So, all right, yeah, so, let's see. Next week would be the 8th.
Not the week after.
That's the 2nd.
So you're looking at the 2nd and
Yeah,
15th.
2nd and 15th, 2 and 15.
2:15.
And we'll try it, and if we decide we want to change it, we'll modify it going beyond that. Okay. All right, that's all I had on my list. Is there anything else in project land that we need to do some homework on or tackle or?
No, I'm gonna swing in at the cemetery on the way home, see if the road,
Okay.
and see if you got it mowed. We hadn't mowed it as of Thursday. Anyway, I don't know.
All right.
You mean the cemetery itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just make sure if it isn't done, if he's gonna get it done this week or tomorrow.
Had Audrey already called? I thought we had to do that.
Oh, I don't know, it was left out. I mean, he was doing it on his own. I started calling him and then he just had it on a regular schedule.
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Do that, that'll work.
And I think Mike told him, just to do it
When needed.
when needed.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so we're gonna need to do,
Because when, at first, I was only allowed to mow 3 times a year.
okay. Did any of that grass stick from last year?
It's hard to tell.
Okay,
I thought probably with the drought it all died, but it still did pretty good.
okay. Oh, good.
You gotta kind of keep an eye on the grub situation.
That-
Probably need another application, grub X,
Okay,
that's no big deal.
all right. Yeah, we've got it it just, as you just said, what you did, about mowing, I know down at the transfer station with the report we had last year from the engineers on the monitoring of the cap. There was a recommendation to put some additional soil and grass down in a couple of areas that were like really thin. And then so that the cap wouldn't show up. There was also some kind of fabric that's actually not at the very base of the enclosure, but out a little bit. And Mike had asked him to take a look at that and find out if he thought that was part of the cap, or whether it was just somebody threw a piece of, tarp down there and it's stuck in the woods. So he's supposed to look at that too. So we're just, while he's working on things for us around town, we're just asking him to go up and put the seed down on that cap and check the other thing out.
Yeah, Mark did tell me, he saw a woodchuck, so he's gonna keep his eye out. For the woodchuck.
Yeah, I told him,
Okay.
yeah, I told him I had to have our hard trap if they wanted it, so. All right,
On another, we have department heads come in every so often.
that would be nice.
I think they used that one time, didn't they?
Yeah,
What do you want, what's schedule it is?
I'm just throwing it out there to see if you guys look.
No, I think it no less than monthly. And if they got something that has come up, they can,
every week we had somebody,
All right. We go back
Randy
to
come
that.
in 1 week and then the road contractor come in another week.
Police, fire.
Yeah, a lot of police, they kind of stopped that because of the privacy of the work.
I mean,
No,
we just
Joe-
get
Joe-
an update out,
I've asked them along that same line. Randy provides a one pager right now, with kind of his summary of activity for the month. And I've asked Joe to pull that information together too. Because I believe that can only help us around any kind of budget discussions. Looking at the activity of what's going on in town, where they're patrolling and everything else. So he said he was pulling something together. But we could schedule
Yeah,
every week, every other week. I mean, schedule something every
Yeah.
other week and
have something different.
come in different every other week. Yep. Anybody you want in particular first?
Police, fire, do I got no line? Transfer,
Well,
station.
let me-
We haven't talked to them in a while.
Let's,
Lenny does.
yeah, I don't think we need to bring those guys in because I think the relationship is strong enough.
Yeah. Any
Stuff that's
concerns will go
going
you
on.
anyway, right?
Your phone will ring if there's anything that's concerning.
Yeah, I don't know. Mark was gonna have Audrey do a home list, but
Hey,
everybody.
it's an updated list.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
there was handed out there.
Refrigerator.
Yeah, but I printed one last year for the wall, for the three of us, the home phone and cell phone numbers. And he asked to update that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because I said to him last weekend. I said, want my phone number? But he still got it. And he said, no, he said, I'll have Audrey print up a new one with everybody's number. Okay,
yeah, I'll
whether she,
find out if she did that.
I think she got an update, because yesterday when I came down here,
Yeah,
she handed me a paper with a.
there's this one that came out this morning. Did you get one of these this morning?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
Barbara, you-
don't know, she made an email, but I don't,
No, she handed it out this morning.
Oh.
I thought she put one on these, everybody's desk. Doesn't look like it though.
no, like that.
I'll give you this. Yeah, so I mean, we just need the one big list for the three of us. The three of us on that list. And then what I'll do is I get the file I did last year. So all I had to do is pull it up and I put it like 2-inch letters and kind of thing, so it was real clear. They just stick it on the wall on the inside of the station. So I'll put Lenny's name on top.
Do you want to make them a schedule for the next monthly,
Yeah, so- I would like to ask Joe to come in first
Okay.
with his new monthly report. That kind of ensures you start getting something. And I don't want to do it first week, then one during that month end. But June 8th should be,
Stop there.
yeah. And then from there, basically make it like the 13th of July. So. And we'll keep that schedule going as close as we can toward that week. And then do fire department the other weeks. So we could do.
The way we did it is somebody came the first Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then somebody came the second Tuesday. And somebody came the third Tuesday.
So literally it became a quarterly report.
No, it was every month.
This is a different department every
Yeah.
week.
Okay,
It was
yeah,
like fire department came the first Tuesday,
Oh,
police
perfect.
department second
That's good.
Tuesday.
that'll work.
I thought it worked out good.
All right.
So we just gotta come up
We
with.
just have the
one
second Tuesday of the month.
Although every week someone new would come in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Joe would be
That's right.
here today, Joe would be here today.
Yeah.
Next week, Randy would have Randy.
Yep.
Week after that, we might have transfers.
Yeah.
And,
So that's what I was just looking at. So June 8th would the chief, the following week's 15th, that would be Randy.
So we'll go police fire,
Mhm.
and then you want Evans, road contract.
Have them on the 22nd. Evans.
We'll ask that question.
Mhm. Who's left?
Let's see.
Good.
Anybody else?
Transfer station,
You want, what again?
transfer station,
Nah, I'm thinking that you can,
okay.
with the feedback you get, we can pretty much answer any of the questions there.
And they're always capable to call us and make an appointment.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. But I mean, when you're talking to them, find out. You know, they want to come in and do something. I don't think the answer is going to be yes. I think we're basically saying they're in such constant contact with us that we're getting pretty much all the items and issues. Do you want to do anything with assessing?
Yeah, I think, I don't think there's anybody, I mean, sorry, transfer his money.
Well, it is doing the assessment, we did the zoning.
That's all.
Yeah.
She's due for a visit too, I think.
So put her the 4th week.
Yeah, the 29th.
Okay. You want to do assessing or no? Okay. Anybody else you want in there?
Remember?
4 items, 4 weeks.
Remember else, was it?
It was just that there was, fifth Tuesday, I think, was the transfer station. Already went.
We're gonna leave the transfer station open in case they do want to come in and meet, have them on, like Lenny said.
Yep.
Last Tuesday. There was.
If there was 5 Tuesdays in the month, I think it was the transfer station.
Oh, okay.
So
Good.
leave it open. Okay, so 4 items, 4 weeks. Got it. All right. Super. Let Audrey know that. All right. Anything else?
Oh, yeah.
Lenny?
No,
All right.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Fuller, aye. Thank you very much, folks. Now, I'm gonna figure out how to turn this thing off. I make copies of those thanks things. Stop recording. Okay. Okay. Hold on.
quicker.